In terms of education, we talked about Abbott v. Burke and the court order to spend more in the special needs districts. There were fights subsequently in your administration, during your administration, over the Quality Education Act. Can you enlighten us as to what that was all about? Senator Lynch was very much involved in that, I recall.
Well, I mean, Senator Lynch was very much involved, particularly in the allocation of monies, that he wanted to take some money out of the Quality Education Act proposal we had, because he wanted to make sure that the money would go for property tax relief directly. We made the argument that, in fact, quality education was, in fact, property tax relief. Because, in fact, if the court was ordering you to increase monies for education, if you don't do it at the state level, you have to do it at the local level. It means property tax increases. We said a more equitable way of doing it was to raise the money at the state level and distribute it back to the communities in accordance with the formula. The difficulty, of course, in that whole issue at that time was the Supreme Court was very candid in saying, for the years before me, and even during my years, they really don't know what a thorough and efficient education is in terms of any specificity. And therefore, they do know that quality education is achieved in the high affluent school districts, and therefore that's a factor of money. Since they didn't know specifics as to what constitutes it, they're going to use money as a surrogate for quality education. Therefore, the school districts that don't have the money should have the money supplemented by state money. Since that time, of course, the educational people have learned a lot more, and the courts have learned a lot more. So now they can dictate and specify what you should be doing in terms of preschool education, class sizes, quality of buildings. They can be more specific in ordering what should be done, as opposed to just the bare assertion of money being the answer.
Was the Quality Education Act the consequence of their order for equalized school funding?
The answer is yes.
Okay.
That was our response to them trying to even up the thing. Subsequently, after I left office, the Supreme Court came and said in a subsequent decision that the Quality Education Act made a dramatic improvement but was not good enough. There had to be more money provided to it. But by that time, they had made the determination that it was either more money or more specific outcomes by virtue of preschool programs, quality education in classrooms, classroom improvements, school improvements, and so on. So it gave more latitude to not necessarily have to raise money per se, if you can figure out some other cost-effective way of achieving the specifics that lead to better outcomes.
The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, when you were governor, was Robert Willans,
Yes.
Who had been appointed by Brendan Byrne, I guess,
right.
and then reappointed by
by
Governor Kane. And you told me recently, in connection with another story I was working on, that you did not get to appoint anyone to the Supreme Court.
That's right.
Were you comfortable with the court?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I was enthusiastic about the court. Obviously, I thought they took a little too much time. It should have been done on Governor Kane's watch. Let him deal with the problem. But it's interesting, as I read through the transcripts from the Attorney General's office out of Governor Kane's administration, it almost became embarrassing to read their positions that everything is okay. There was no, they contested on the Supreme Court case that there was a need for changing the system, which I even made reference to this in the campaign, that was an indefensible position. The quality of education in some of the particular urban areas was nowhere up to snuff. That nobody could in good faith argue that it was adequate and therefore it shouldn't be changed. So I was prepared and actually said in the campaign that I was going to be dealing with this problem, that I thought we had to change the educational system. I didn't anticipate it would come down so quickly, but I was not surprised when it came down the way it did.